What's going on? This is Kareem from DJBooth.net, and I'm here in the lab to give you guys a full rundown video review of the new Rane TTM57MKII professional 2-channel Serato DJ Mixer. So this is a new take on an old classic. The original Serato Rane TTM57SL was an excellent mixer. It was made specifically for Serato Scratch Live, and it also had some of the same layout that you see here and some of the same build quality that you also see here. It also borrowed a lot from the original iconic TTM56, and those were just some excellent mixers. They took lots and lots of abuse. They lived up to all the hype. They had great faders. They had really durable, great build quality, and turntablists and people who just thrash mixers all day long were just hooting and raving about the TTM56 and the TTM57SL. It's really a turntablist favorite. So what they're trying to do here is bring back some of that flair from that original 57, because the original 57 is no longer compatible with Serato DJ, which is the newest software in the Serato lineup that most DJs want to use today. But the 57SL only came with Serato Scratch Live, of course, and you weren't able to update that to the new Serato DJ with the SL, so you had to be forced to get one of the newer Rane 61 or 62 mixers if you wanted to have a Serato sound card within your mixer that could work with Serato DJ. The 61 and the 62 that we reviewed about 2 years ago will work with Serato Scratch Live and Serato DJ. Unfortunately, the new TTM57MKII only works with Serato DJ, and there's no plan for Rane to update that in the future to include anything from Serato Scratch Live, because unfortunately Serato Scratch Live is done with, and they're not going to be providing any more updates, or they're not going to be investing any more money into features for that software. So Serato DJ is kind of the wave of the future, so the mixer will also be along those lines and only work with Serato DJ. So that's one of the points to point out. If you guys are out there trying to get a mixer that's going to work with both SSL and Serato DJ, this is probably not the choice, because of course it can only work with Serato DJ. The build quality of this mixer is very similar to both the 62 and the original 57. They have the same outer casing, which is very durable. It's a nice heavyweight mixer. It also has the same iconic magnetic faders here as the originals, but the difference will lie underneath the EQ knobs and all of your volume control knobs, where if you can see this on camera, they are plastic posts underneath the actual knob itself. The only 6 knobs on here that have metal posts are for software controls. All the other ones that you see here are unfortunately plastic posts. I say unfortunately because when you're spending over $1,000 on the mixer, you just would hope to see some of the best, most expensive and hard to break components on the mixer. But having said that, the Rane 62 and 61 both have plastic posts under their caps, and I haven't been hearing any reports of any type of breakage or any real issues with them being that way. So all of the new Rane mixers will have this plastic post underneath. The older mixers, like the original 57SL and the original 56, had all metal posts. So it's not really a gripe, but it is something that we're going to point out to you guys here, just so you know that there are differences between the two. Other than that, it's a great mixer. It comes bundled with the Serato DJ Full software, and it also comes bundled with timecode vinyl, which will show you, so you can plug in your 2 turntables on the sides of the mixer, or your CDJs that have that timecode or noise map style Serato DJ control, and you can plug them straight into the mixer, and you can mix back your virtual files from the computer using that vinyl or CDs, or however you're going to control your noise map. So we're going to break this full mixer down for you, show you all the features and functions that you see on board. But first up, we're going to take a quick look at the inputs and outputs so you can see all that the Rane TTM57MKII has to offer. Okay, so right off the bat on the front, we have 2 different headphone jacks, one for your mini and one for your 1/4 inch TRS. And then you have the foot switch jack as well, so that way you can attach and start different effects and things of that nature with an optional foot switch. On the back, we have the on-off switch, very heavy duty, your power connector here, and you have your XLR main outputs, right and left, and then you have USB A and USB B, so that way you can connect 2 different computers for easy DJ changeovers, and you can select on the top knob of the mixer which different channels are using which USB port. That way you can have 2 different DJs at the same time, or you can use them for different switchovers as well. Next up, you have a booth output TRS, Then you have another session RCA out and session RCA in. This is good for linking up different controllers or different mixers, so that way you can have one session, or it's good for just another additional RCA output because there is an additional knob on the front of this mixer, so that way you can control that volume control separately. Next up, you have deck 1 and deck 2, which have auxiliary inputs and a phono CD input as well, and you can use the push buttons here to change that from phono to CD level depending on what you have plugged in. You have your 2 separate posts for your phono grounds, and then you have a send and return RCA setup here, so that way you can use your external effects modules. And then you have a microphone connector here, which is a combo jack of an XLR and your TRS. So here it is, the Rane TTM57MKII Serato 2-channel DJ mixer. So what we have here is, again, 2-channel DJ mixer. We'll start from the bottom and work our way up. We have these iconic Rane magnetic faders, really, really good, really smooth, and they're just excellent, excellent to scratch with. Everybody in the DMC competition has been using these for the past few years in the Rane TTM62. So same faders here, really, really good. Line faders are the same. Excellent, excellent faders. They all have reverse controls and contour controls, so that way you can change the fade amount and the polarity of your faders. You also have a channel swap button that will swap the controls for each channel. Moving right up, we have the MIDI controls that are present within Serato DJ. These are for your hot cues and for your samples. You can easily launch them. These are really nice buttons. They're RGB backlit. These are better buttons in my opinion than the hard buttons that are found on the 62. These are nice and rubberized, and they have a really tactile feel to them, and they really just work nicely. So really, really good controls here. Really, really nice buttons. Easy to select your samples and, of course, select your hot cues as well. You also have more MIDI controls here. This is to scroll through the different tracks in your library, and then you have on each side, so that way when you press the button, it will allow you to put the track onto the different deck of your choice. Again, you can see this is the time code vinyl that is provided with the Serato DJ software and everything within the package of the TTM57MKII. Next up, you have a shift button, so you can change what you're doing on the actual other buttons that you see here. And then you have your cues and samples buttons, so you can change these from hot cues to samples. Next up, you have your loop controls. These will do an automatic loop for you at any predetermined size that you have set up here within Serato DJ. You have to look on screen to see the different size of the loop before you press the actual loop control to enact the loop. And you also have a loop roll function, which includes the slip mode onto your loop. So I'll show you a quick example of that. Every single day they running on the pavement till it's done. Well, how they love me when the game ain't strong. They love me when the moon is way long. And they wonder if the hype is real. Next up, you have your FX controls. You only have one effect control per module here, so you only have one on-off button and one FX select knob here. So you're allowed to change which effect you actually have on with this knob when you press the shift, or you can use it to actually change the parameter of the effect. So this is one of my minor gripes with the TTM57 is that it only has one effect module per side. It would have been nicer to see maybe 2 or 3. That way you can access all of your effects at the same time while using the TTM57, but you'll only be able to access the first 2 of each module at a time. You have the on-off button here, and when you press shift and twist the knob, you're allowed to select which effect you actually are using at the time. Next up, you have a Flex FX button that allows you to enact an effect on that particular side or channel using your effects plugin from the back So your effects send and receive that you have on the back here, that will correspond to your flex effects buttons. You have a low high pass filter here built into each side. And then you also have a source select knob, so that way you can select whether you're using the first USB port or the second USB port. So that way you can have two DJ switch over at the same time. Or you can also select an auxiliary input on the back or your phono CD input on the back as well. Next up, we have the transformer type joysticks. When you hit it down, you're in slip mode. When you hit it to the left, that's instant double, so it'll instantly double whatever you have playing on one side and throw it to the other. Then you have internal playback mode, so you can switch between internal playback mode and your time code playback mode. And then you have censor, which will actually censor the music. So you have a curse or something coming up in your song and you want to make the song monetarily play backwards, you can do so with using the censor feature.
Oh, now you know when I'm off the radar. And listen to the patience that she had faces I shot. My baby working on the baby ain't waiting this bitch.
Next up, on the right hand side, we have your main volume control knob all the way to the top. That will adjust the volume of your XLR outputs. Then you have a booth volume knob that will adjust the volume of your TRS outputs. Then you have a session out volume knob that will adjust the volume of your actual RCA output. Then you have a split cue button, which will allow you to play one thing in the headphones, which is your master, and the other headphone will actually play your cue up section, whatever you have queued up in the headphones. Next up, you have a cue main or cue master knob fader, which will actually fade between what's playing out of the master and what is actually queued up in the headphones. Next up, you have your headphones volume control knob, and then you have a deck 1 and a deck 2 slider, which will allow you to cue between your two decks so you can hear what's actually playing underneath what the crowd cannot hear. So next up, you have your low, mid, and high EQ knobs and gain control, and these have full kill, so that means you can fully kill any sound at any given time just by pressing the actual button here. Really cool feature to have.
What I'm gonna do when they use this song? What I'm gonna every single beat me till it's done. Look how they look like they love me. They wanna cheat.
Next up, all the way on the left, you have your controls for your auxiliary inputs and your microphone controls as well. You have a filter for your auxiliary input and a level knob. So you have a low high pass filter on your aux, which is really cool. You have a session in, so that way you can change the volume of your session in. And you also have the microphone level here with microphone tone control, so you can get your microphone just right. You also have separate LED meters for all of your different inputs and outputs, and for the master, really accurate meters so you can see exactly where you are in the mix, whether you're using software or live inputs. So in conclusion, the new Rane TTM57MKII mixer is an excellent and superb follow-up to the original TTM57 SL. It's really a worthy successor. It does a good job of bringing the old classic up to some of the new standards. You still have that same Rane professional all metal chassis and really nice sound quality that are in mostly all Rane mixers. You also have a built-in Serato DJ sound card with the complete Serato DJ software and timecode vinyl bundled right in to get you started right off the bat. You also have these nice RGB backlit pads that are rubberized, and they're really nice to the touch, really good for performing and for drumming on, even better than the harder knobs that are found on the 62. You also have the long life magnetic Rane crossfaders and scratch faders that are excellent for your DVS use and for your turntablist tricks. They're perfect faders. They'll probably never break on you, and they just are really, really good and fun to scratch with, just like on the 62, which is, of course, the DMC certified mixer of choice. And they also have a bunch of additional aux inputs on the back, the session input and output, and even dual USB ports and effects send and receive. So you've got a lot of options that you have on this small mixer. On the downside, there's only one effect control knob and button per module. So you'll notice they have about 3 different effects and buttons within Serato DJ on each module, but unfortunately you can only control one at a time here using the FX knob and beat knob, since only one is found on board with the mixer. It's also plastic posts for most of the knobs, which I showed you earlier. One of my minor gripes with the unit, because I feel like when you spend a lot of money on a mixer, you should probably have metal posts for all of your knobs. So other than those two minor gripes, and of course the kind of high price point at $1,749 in the US, it's still a great mixer. I'm sure it's going to be a scratch battle DJ favorite within the next few months and probably for years to come. So for more on the full written review, you can head on over to www.djbooth.net/DJS, or you guys can just click on the link at the top of this video description. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you subscribe so you know when more videos like this is coming out in the future. And as always, thanks for watching.
Make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Hey. Look, struggles in the past and I made a transition. Started with a mic, then I turned into a vision. In the driver's seat, keys in the ignition. Boy, I'm tryna ball on you, bitch, Skylar Diggins. Ain't no way around it, I'm the problem and solution. Getting it, if you wanna know what I'm doing. Only talking beef when you boys barbecuing. Us some real niggas posted on the block, patching you in. Step by step, I ain't got nothing left. Been learning the game, I don't need no ref. Nigga too funny, aka Mike Epps. All I know is work like my young nigga chef. Made it out the mud, yeah, we got it out the trenches. Remember them days we were jumping over fences. Niggas stop who, but his grind is relentless. All I see is paper like I'm sitting in detention. Tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing. Just a young nigga tryna make something out of nothing. Tryna make something out of nothing.